I'm gripped. I am gripped.
Tracy-Ann Oberman is here on the sofa.
Hello.
I mean, hello, lovely to see you.
So good to see you.
What memories?
So, I'm just laughing because I'd forgotten how many times. I was only in it for 18 months. I got punched in the face so many times. Punched into a grave, punched into a glass cabinet. Yeah, I'm thinking, wow.
Punched into the grave by Barbara Windsor.
By Barbara Windsor.
I mean, that's an accolade.
And then sort of fell back onto Den's sort of grave with just a little bit of bra showing. It was super camp. It was fabulous.
I have to say, though, you look very well on it.
Oh.
In that close-up to this close-up, there's no difference. You look incredible.
I mean, I have to say, the glam... Have you seen these episodes? The glam in prison is incredible.
I said that this morning. I mean, you know, even though she's been inside for 19 years... I mean, that's quite a stretch.
Well, she's clearly got a manicurist, a hairdresser and an entire sort of makeup guy. But actually, knowing Chrissie,
yes,
she probably did. I always sort of, like, modelled her on... sort of the sort of people that go into prison that are quite, you know, that cosy up to the governor. So I imagine that she was let out on release twice a week and
just
went out for lunches. Yeah,
had a custard cream and a cup of tea.
She worked probably the Ivy or somewhere. You know, she's having a lovely time.
Yes, I like where she's... So why was this the right moment to return?
I never had the time, and it was never right. And I had come out of a very long stint of theatre, playing Shylock in The Merchant of Venice, which we'll talk about later. And there was a gap, and Chris rang me one day as I was walking down the road, and he said, sit down, would you come back? And I went, tell me the story. And he told me the story. I sat down for 20 minutes, and I went, yeah, now's the time. It was just such a good storyline, and it just fitted in perfectly.
And what's it been like, sort of, being back in Chrissie's skin and playing her again?
So it's bizarre. I lived down at Albert Square for 18 months, more than I ever saw my husband or anyone at home. I literally was doing 28 scenes a day. 19 years off, and going back in, I was a bit like, what's this going to be like? But it was like finding an old coat at the back of the cupboard that you loved. I put it on the first day, and I was, you know, put her on, and I loved it. I loved it. I had such fun, and I just loved that character. She's written for so brilliantly. Coming back into prison, being the sort of... It was a cross between Orange is the New Black meets Prisoner Cell Block 8, all my favourite television secrets. So I loved it.
And what does your daughter think of you now being in EastEnders? Because she's 18 now, is that right?
She's just 18.
So she didn't see you...
No. She has a healthy disinterest in everything I do. When I was in Auntie Val in Friday Night Dinner, I think that just hit the schools around that time, so she got that. But she keeps going, what, duff, duffs? What's a duff, duff? So I've made her sit down last night. She was like, oh. So she quite liked it.
Is she into it now?
Yeah, she got it. And that's the problem with, you know, you start off on one episode of EastEnders, next thing, 15 years later, you're watching everything that goes. It's like a gateway entry television soap addiction.
And it's a brilliant one, and she's just such a fantastic character.
She is.
What can we expect?
You've got, it's a really good week of high octane. It's every emotion from A to Z. It's, you know, we've got fights, we've got tears, we've got laughter, we've got conciliation. We could have death. Who knows?
We could have death.
We could. I'm just toying with you, maybe. But it's, you know, it's Chrissie Watts and Sharon, the two Watts women, and at their height and best, it's great.
And is it just lovely, not as the character, but as you, to go back and enjoy it the second time around?
It really is.
How does it feel for you?
You know, I've done a lot of television and I've done a lot of theatre. I've had a really interesting career, and I never, ever thought I'd go back. And it's been amazing. I've loved every minute of it. And actually, to go back into that world of multi-camera, soap is a very specific way of filming. EastEnders is very quick, so you're doing a lot of scenes in a day. And I've loved every minute, and I've loved the audience's reaction to her, because I love playing her, and people just loved her, and it makes me very happy.
Always have. But it doesn't stop you doing the other stuff. You mentioned The Merchant of Venice, and you playing Shylock.
Yeah, first female Shylock. It's, you know, I based that Shylock on my great-grandmother, immigrant into the East End of London. It was very important for me to reclaim that play. A female Shylock with her one daughter in the East End, standing up to Oswald Mosley, British Union of Fascists. So we've adapted the play. It's very short, very sexy, very punchy, and through public demand, it's coming back.
And you're doing it at Christmas?
We're doing it over, December, January. It's at the Trafalgar Studios in town, Trafalgar Theatre, and then it's going on a tour.
I think I quite liked what you said, Tracy-Ann, about if you haven't done Shakespeare, you're a bit intimidated devastated by Shakespeare. This is a really good way of getting a sense of Shakespeare that will be gripping and interesting, so you get a sense of what it is.
And this is I would say this is the passion project of my life, because it was about reminding people of a little bit of history of the Battle of Cable Street, where, you know, we're living in very diverse times and people are pulling apart. And that was a moment when my great-grandmother told me that when Oswald Mosley and the British Union of Fascists marched into the East End against the Jewish entity down there, and all the Irish working class, English working class, all the neighbours, Afro-Caribbean community, they all pulled together and said, no, 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 if you come for one, you come for us all. And there was a huge battle against these fascists to say you shall not pass. So to get Shakespeare, this female kind of Shylock, reclaim her, and to set it against that background, it's been a really potent, popular mix of, you know, it's a sexy bit of theatre, and people have
And you're also doing White Rabbit, Red Rabbit, which, by the way, I read it and I was like, what? You're doing what? You never see the script. You don't...
saying the title itself, White Rabbit, Red Rabbit, it's a really weird thing. I've been asked to do it amongst the great and the good of the sort of... You turn up on the day, you haven't seen a script, you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what the set is, you don't know what the story is. You walk out into Soho Place, audience, sold out, and you go on an acting experience that you don't... It's like a nightmare. And
amazing people are doing it. They come in and go and...
Yeah, they've got incredible people doing it.
Who are the other people doing it with you?
Well, just like...
Or done it in the past.
Just I mean, just look at the names.
Yeah,
it's just the great and the good. So I feel very honoured, but slightly terrified.
There's that thing about you guys as actors, though, you like testing yourself, and there's no clearer test than being put in front of an audience without any idea who you're playing, what the storyline is, what the script is, or anything.
It's an actor's nightmare. Look, a lot of people I know would be... you know, somebody said to me, pull your big pants up, because that's terrifying.
Yes!
But I love that. I thrive on it.
Amazing.
So it's diverse, but I'm so glad people are enjoying Chrissie and the merchant,
amazing.
so thank you.
Thank you for coming on the show this morning. Thank you. Tracy-Ann and EastEnders is back tonight at 7:30 on BBC. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.